All right, welcome to part 64. Yep, 64. Um, okay, so Mark Oliver is so you guys will be learning about Mark Oliver. Okay, so uh okay, so next part is actually Stacy Findley. Stacy Findley, the class of 2001. Stacy Findley, repeat. Stacy Findley. Okay? All right. So, first, what is your name? The interviewer asks. My name is Mark Oliver. What year did you graduate? 95 was my graduation year. Can you think, uh, why is it doing that? Can you think of some major historical moments? Can't really think of any historical. The things that happened that stand out that year, I can't think of any really. That's okay. What was the school atmosphere like when you were here? It was fun. I mean, a lot of good people, a lot of fun people, probably similar to how it is now. Teenage years. Drinking Sprite. What did you enjoy most about being here during your high school career? I think the friends, like every other kid, the social aspect, but the social aspect was a little different though. No phones, we wore pagers. We called them the beepers back then. No phones like you guys have now, so the social media wasn't there like it is now. So the rivalry between North and East, what was it like? It's about like it is now. It's intense even back when then it was the games, basketball and football. Were there any other schools that it was kind of like a rivalry? I think the only one that stands out to me is East, the big rivalry game. What was your favorite class and why? I liked science a lot. It was probably my favorite class. Why? I just like the nature part of it, plants and animals. It was a little different back then. We would dissect things, and I don't know if they do as much of that today as they did back then. Is it similar to what you do now? I'm a landscaper, and I think that's part of a reason I like science. But part of growth and things like that. Who was your favorite teacher and why? My favorite teacher was Mr. Paffenberger. I kind of got a history with Mr. Pfaffenberger. Mr. P. I actually knew him before I came to North. When I was here at North, I was not a good kid. I had a lot of issues. Before he went to North, I was at a school called Joy Howell, and he was a teacher here there. When I transitioned into high school for that school, he helped me make that transition. He's by my far my favorite teacher here. He is just a great person too. As I grew older and went back to get my GED, he came to that graduation. When I got married, he came to my wedding. He has always been a part of my life, even now. I would agree with that. Yeah, he's a great teacher. What were your favorite restaurants during your high school and could you go off campus? Yes, actually, when I was in high school, we could go off campus, and so would the middle schools. Northside and Central went off campus, so it was a lot different. I don't know if it was 7th and 8th graders or just 8th grade, but one of those classes was able to go off campus. So everybody, all freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors went off campus. A lot different than it is today. So where did you go? We would go to Taco Bell a lot, and sometimes we would go to Tasties. There was a place we went to a lot in the mornings too. It was where Subway is now. It's called the Olympia. A lot different. This is off topic, but does Taco Bell have a bad reputation like it does now? Yes. When we were in school, there was a lot of people smoking. People would just go over and smoke. They would let them smoke on the property. So that's where I think everyone went to hang out. There were a lot of fights. There was a fence behind Taco Bell, and people would just go back there and fight. Yeah, it had a bad reputation then too. In fact, when I was in school, we had a place right where Subway that was called Cancer Corner because everyone went there and smoked. Teachers would walk by and nobody would say anything to us. It was a lot different. People should stand up. Why does talk about people are not doing their jobs? They're not. Are they this retarded? Honestly? So what's the hit place to meet up? I think the hit place on Friday nights is like they had a place over by East, the bowling alley, and call it a rock and bowl, and they would have a DJ and a dance floor. They people made up there and hung out. Some bowled, some danced, and some just hung out with their friends. That was a pretty hip dance, a hip place. They actually even had a place they started. They just because they just create a hangout that was called Catch 21. It was an under 21 hangout place. I look at it now, it was kind of crazy and ridiculous because they almost set it up like a bar setting. It was all non-alcoholic drinks, so it was all like these kids were getting the same experience, and it didn't work out, and it didn't last long. There was a lot of fights, and it didn't last long. Probably lasted about a year, and then they had to close it down. Too many fights and too much drugs. It was a bad atmosphere. So, you say that you didn't remember who the principal was? No, I don't remember who the principal was. Did you have to do senior projects? I didn't do the senior project again, like I said, and I messed up early on when I came to high school and came out of that. We called it the troublemaking school. So but when I came to transition here, or I just played it too much, I thought it was cool now that I'm in high school now. I really got behind on work and behind on credits. It hurts me pretty bad. My senior year, I spent more time trying to make up my credits and catch up my credits to graduate. So I didn't do the senior project. Do you remember what the yearbook looked like when you were in high school? I don't. I really don't. I got it. I got one somewhere, but I don't remember a lot. What's in it? Can't remember if the pictures were black and white or if they were in color. I think they were in color. Not that old. They were a little cheaper made when they are now. How many people were in the school total? There was around, I think, 2,300. I think that sounds all right. What were the hostiles and what did people wear? Oh man, tight roll jeans. I remember tight roll jeans. Everybody tight roll jeans in the bottom of their jeans. That was a big thing. I'm trying to think. You have the group that wears a hat nowadays, all the basketball hats and jerseys. But the thing was that tight roll jeans, and another one was a bib overalls. They had them and they would let them long hang down. That was a big style back then. What would be your defining moment of your high school career? The defining moment? I guess something that stands out the most of you. I have not thought about that. I'm not too sure what you're asking. Something that happened in school? I'll ask it another way. What made North, in your opinion, unique? I think one of the things that made North unique is that it was there and it still has the same as teacher and how much I care for the students. It says a lot. When I was in high school, Mr. Pfaffenberger was there, and he's still here today. Mrs. Pfaffenberger was there, and she's still here today. Mr. Maihi was here, and he's still here today. These were teachers when I was in high school that cared about me and my well-being, and they are still here today. I still hear stories. I think that's the most defining moments. I just care how much the teachers care about their students. Even though today, how some of the coaches, how much they care about the teams and the future of their students, I think that's what stuck out of the most of me and still does today at North. It's a great school. Pardon me. So, were you in any sports or clubs or anything like that? I was not. I loved art class, and what that was kind of the one of the places where I thrived was in art. Things like that. I really wasn't in any sports or any special classes, any extra curriculum or anything like that. Do you want to add? Do you want to add anything else? I would just say, today I'm a very successful today, and I think it's because of again of the teachers that cared about me. Mr. Pfaffenberger, he really cared about me and my future. He looked past some of my faults and seen potential. And I mean, I think about them, they are some of the things that made me successful today. I mean, I'm a business owner today, so an entrepreneur. So again, that is because of the people believe in me. And North High School made that happen, so I'm excited about that. I would just say some of the students, don't go down the same road I went. It took me a long time to get to where I am today because I struggled so much in school because I wanted to play instead of work. So I would just tell some of the students go after your dreams. This is a place you can get them. This is a place that you all have to the other things that you can access right here to accomplish your dreams. You got the teachers, you got the education, get to whatever it is you want to do, you can obtain by starting right here. But you got to start now. North's a great school. A lot of successful people come out of this school, so I think it's great. That's all I'd say. All right, so Stacy Family, class of 2001. Okay, so I'll be doing that. I'll be doing this on part 65. All right, I'm gonna read some of the assignments that I have not read yet. But this time I need to make it. But this time I need to make it longer. Yeah, I need to make it longer just to remind you guys. Pardon me. All right, video questions. Layers of the Earth based on the chemical and composition and physical properties. Video questions. Layers of the Earth based on the chemical composition and physical properties. What are the compositional layers on the geosphere? What are the mechanical layers? What are the two types of crust? How thick is the continental crust on a cam? How thick is the oceanic crust in the cam? Where is the mantle located? What is the core mostly made of? What is the hottest part of our planet? What is the lithosphere? Where is the atmosphere? Where? No. Where's the asthenosphere? Where's the asthenosphere located at? What is the difference between the outer core and the inner core? Alright, let me know in a comment. Alright. Okay, so I'll be reading someone's story today on part 64. Wonder what to read. Alright, so I'm gonna read I'm gonna do Kylie's at part 65. So I'm gonna do the Electoral College Pros and Cons Research Forum. The Electoral College Pros and Cons Research Forum. I'm actually doing that in 65. I'm actually reading someone else's today, part 64. I'll do a little story about this. Arguments are not made. This is actually a short story. This is actually made for the arguments that have been around so far. That doesn't. Sometimes it changes, but sometimes people just get over it. Some people just don't really get over it because they don't. They probably don't like each other. That's probably why. So, anyways, pros and arguments for electoral college system, and cons arguments for an alternative system, because those are the blanks that you can put in. How should we select a president? Identify your choice and the three arguments for the above that most influence your decision. Let me know in the comments what you think. You can answer those comments down below. Sedimentary rock and identification report. Okay, this is the sedimentary rock identification report. For each of the following rocks, create brief of a two-paragraph report. Include the following information: what the rock is: caustic, chemical or biochemical sedimentary rock. If caustic, what grain size? If chemical, what type of chemical deposition of chemical type? If biochemical, what type of life formed as a rock? Type of transport. Type of depositional environment. Be specific. Interesting facts about the rock type. A picture of the rock. Include at least two references per rock. Without these, I cannot verify your information about in your work will be void. Do not just copy and paste information. Metamorphic rocks. Shirt. Shirt. Siltstone. Coquina. Quartz conglomerate. Red sandstone. Argillaceous. Clay sandstone. Argillaceous. Shale. Bituminous. Shale. Shale limestone. Dolomitic limestone. Travertine. And gypsum. Or gypsum. Alright. I should do more work than stories, it helps me to get back on easier. Sorry for your long confusion. I was gonna say. Where's my oh. I was worried. Alright, metamorphic rock identification report. Just like this. For each of the following rocks, create a brief two-paragraph report. Include the following information of this rock identification report, the metamorphic. The crystals present in the rock. The grain texture. Grade of metamorphism. The type of metamorphism: regional, contact, burial, and hydrothermal act. More than one type may apply. Protolith. Possible area where the rock may form. Interesting facts about the rock type. A picture of a rock. Include at least two differences or references per rock. Without these, I cannot verify your information about in your work will be void. You cannot just do without these questions. Okay? Do not just copy and paste information. Metamorphic rocks. Biotigenase. Is that how you say it? Biotigenase. Granitogenese. Schist. Granitiferous megaschist. Hornblende schist. Quartzite. Red slate. Gray slate. White marble. Pink marble. Serpentine. Or soapstone. You're learning new things here. All right. I wish I was in interpersonal relationships. I didn't get that class, honestly. Well, that's fine. I don't mind having a different class than everyone. I'm gonna remove some of them. I don't wanna, because I'm not into it. All right, the copy of Social Dwarnism historical figure notes. This is for Mr. Kuhn's class, U.S. history. Andrew Carnegie. Who is this person? What made them famous? Steele. What was their view on reform help less fortunate people? Did reform come because of them to communicate the actual movement? Henry George. Who is this person and what made them famous? Political journalist. Okay, so me, Clayton, and Sergio, we made it together. So we actually made it together. So just to remind you, they both did it together. So what was reviewed on reform? To vote must succeed the thinker of a party for a year. Did reform come because of them? The life story had became to a different story. Charlotte Gilman. Who was this person? What made them famous? She was a noted writer. What was her view on reform? She wanted to have equal rights for female and what female can do as much as men. Did reform come because of them? Active for a different apparent history company. Royston Martin. Who is this person? What made them famous? Bill Clinton. What was their view on reform to participate on political match experience? Did reform come because of them? Are conflicted to a diary of a voting progress. Hannah Solomon. Who is this person? What made them famous? Founder of National Jewish Women. What was their view on reform? Helped Jewish women. Did reform come because of them? People look at Jewish women differently. William Sumner. Who was this person and what made them famous? Concert welfare. What was their view on the reform? Had a long effect on modern conservatism. Did reform come because of them? They were separated on the conflict. Luster Ward. Who is this person and what made them famous? Pioneering. What was their view on reform? Free universal education. Did reform come because of them? Social laws. Why do I keep going back? I don't know why I keep on going back. I have no idea. Video questions biogeochemical cycles? Video questions biogeochemical or biogeochemical cycles. Biogeochemical cycles or cycle. Biogeochemical cycles. The carbon cycle. Okay, so what are the three major things made of carbon C? Can you click on that video? What carbon-based gas effects on the climate? How does life affect carbon? What does a carbon cycle describe? What climate effect is human activity with the carbon cycle affecting? How much percent of the carbon pool is found in the atmosphere? How does vegetation take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere? What happens to the most of the carbon that planes have taken? How much more carbon is in the soil compared to the atmosphere? What does carbon dioxide do to the atmosphere? What does the temperature do to the rate of carbon decomposition? The nitrogen cycle. Click on that video, please. What are the three forms of nitrogen? Which form is absorbed by plants? Which form is associated with decaying material and waste? What do denitrifying bacteria do? What do nitrifying bacteria do? What did nitrofixing do? How does nitrogen get into the soil for animals? Give one example of what nitrogen fixing bacteria do. What does a legume mean? His explanation. What does lightning combine? All right, the oxygen cycle. How much of the atmosphere is made by oxygen? You'll find more on this video. What sphere causes oxygen to cycle? What are the four examples of the way oxygen is found? What processes releases oxygen? What are the five listed processes to the use of oxygen? Describe the simple terms of the difference between aerobes and anaerobes. Oxygen is important for the synthesis of what three types of compounds? What is the chemical size for formula for ozone? The phosphorus cycle. What's the one way that the phosphorus is different from the other cycles? Watch the video. Why is phosphor? Why is phosphor? How do I say it? I how do I say it? I how do you say it? How do you say it honestly? Is it phosphorus? Phosphorus? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is it pronunciation? Why not you just give me the pronunciation instead of just dang it?
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus? Oh fudge. The phosphorus cycle. What is one way that the phosphorus is different from the other cycles? Why is phosphorus important for cells? List three things. Where is phosphorus found? What do plants never produces absorb phosphorus form? What change takes place with phosphorus inside the animals? Where do decomposers get their phosphorus? What happens during the process of mineralization? How does some phosphorus get stored in rocks? The sulfur cycle. What is sulfur? Give a brief explanation, not the whole video answer. What color is pure sulfur? What process releases sulfur into the atmosphere? How does sulfur fall back to the soil? How do plants get their sulfur? How do animals obtain sulfur for plants? How is sulfur dioxide produced? How is sulfur dioxide produced? What am I saying? My English is so bad. What is the water soluble for this form of sulfur? What is sulfur important for? Biogeochemical cycles, it is. Carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and sulfur cycle. You can watch all these videos as you wish. As you wish. My English is so terrible. I'm trying to speak the way I want it to be. I'm just trying to speak the way that I want. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. World War One project. I think I'm gonna do two more slides. Uh, the one and two slides will be done. Actually, oh, the nine slide. Okay. Task: create a Google Slides presentation about the significant events and battles during the World War One. Which each event you must have a title, summary, interesting fact, and a picture. Using the websites below and the research questions you help to complete the presentation. Pardon me. Follow the direction below to complete your brochure. First slide. Title of the presentation: World War One. Include the dates of the war: 1914 to 1918. Include a picture that represents the World War One. Example: the maps of the Allies and Axis powers. Second slide. The title of the slide: Assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, 1914. Go to the Ducksters and see what they are. Slide summary. What is the significance of an assassination of Archduke Ferdinand? What empire was he the current emperor? Why were his assistants recruited and trained to kill the Archduke? How was Gabriello Princip able to kill the Archduke and his wife? How did the assassination start World War One? Include one fact you found interesting about the event. Include a picture. Use Google search. All right, just to remind you that today I'm gonna be uploading a video. Um, After I upload that video on my main channel, which is More Kitty Codes Part 21, which is all has the characters for which is this year, the school year of 2020. They will be uploaded today. So well, you know, been recording for 30 minutes, I think. Yeah. Third side. Didn't I read this already? Oh, okay. Third slide. Title of the slide: Battle of Tannenberg, 1914. Go to the Ducksters. You can look at the information there. Slide summary. What was the significance of the Battle of Tannenberg? What two armies fought at the Battle of the Tannenberg? How was the German army able to defeat the Russian Second Army? What did the Russian army never do again after this battle? Include one fact you found interesting about the event. Include a picture. Use Google search. Alright, I'll be saving that for part 65. I'll be reading someone else's story.